Hello guys, and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, as you could tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are talking about Darklords. And yes, I am going to be doing a in-depth, more or less, guide on how to actually play Darklords and some of the tips and tricks. So let's begin with the quote-unquote basic combo. The problem with Darklords is a lot of it is reliant on your hand, but the basic combo is technically a 3-card combo. It is either Ixchel or Nastin, and then a way to get either contact or banishment, a way to get to contact, basically, and then any other Darklord that you can special summon from the grave along with them. So here we are going to declare the effect of Ixchel. We are going to send this card to the graveyard as well as Indulged to the graveyard, and then we will activate our, then we will draw 2. Doesn't really matter what we draw. This is a weird draw, but it doesn't really matter as long as we have a way to get to contact. Then we're going to drop our contact. We will special summon this guy in defense, and then we will activate this effect to target the Darklord contact, special summoning out this guy, paying, you gotta pay 1,000. Pay your 1,000. This will get shuffled back to the top of the deck and then shuffled. And then here, what we will do is we will activate the effect here. We will... Hold on, I'm sorry, I'm getting used to Dueling Book once again. We're going to special summon to the opponent's side of the field. Doesn't really matter where you special summon it, just special summon it to the opponent's side of the field. You're almost always going to go for Ukobak here. You special summon it, and then you add to your hand. So, with this, doesn't really matter much what we end up adding to the hand. I would say either go for the Tez or the Morningstar. Those are probably your best options, because you can only go for a monster here. But if your hand is something like this, maybe going for Nastin would be good as well. Here we're just going to go for the Tez. We're going to grab it to hand. And then we are going to go to grave with both of these and special summon out our Condemned Darklord. Special summon. Put it right there. We're going to declare the effect. We're going to pitch a card. It doesn't matter what we pitch. We could end up pitching the Tez if we didn't have anything else. So we can just send this to the grave. How do I do? There we go. Send that to the grave. And then we are going to search out our Morningstar. So here we add the Morningstar to the hand. And then at this point we have 3 monsters in the grave. We only need 2, but it doesn't really end up mattering. We are going to then just normal summon this guy into attack. Nope, I accidentally clicked declare and not normal. So normal summon him by banishing just any 2. We're going to banish the 2 that have already been special summoned. And then with that, since this guy was normal summoned, or tribute summoned, you can special summon a Darklord from your hand or deck up to the number of effect monsters your opponent controls. So they have Ukobak on their side of the field, meaning even if we do end up going first, we are able to search and special summon one of our monsters. So I'm going to special summon out our Nastin here. There we go. Special summon from the deck. Make sure that that's all shuffled. Then we are going to activate the effect of Morningstar. We are going to mill the top 3. / mill 3. Yep. And then I gain 1,500 off of the effect of Morningstar here, because I milled 3 Darklords. So plus the 1,500. And we did end up sending a banishment. It doesn't really matter all that much what you send, but it can help out. But this is kind of the main bread and butter, quote-unquote, combo when it comes to Darklords. It's basically utilizing the Indulged as well as any other Darklord and a contact / banishment, and then going into this. You really want to keep your normal summon when you go into the Condemned Darklord. The Condemned Darklord really doesn't do a whole lot unless you are able to get your Morningstar out onto the field. So make sure that you try and keep your normal summon as much as possible, right? Because you're not special summoning your monster, you are tribute summoning. You're just banishing 2 monsters from the grave instead. So there's that one combo. Alright, so now that I've talked a bit about the Darklord side of the deck, this is going to be more of the Eldlich side. I do say that pairing Eldlich with Darklords is incredibly advantageous, so I do want to talk about the quick Eldlich combos, and more specifically, some of the synergies that Eldlich has with Darklords. So, as you saw in that bread and butter combo with Morningstar, we're able to send cards from the top of our deck, which is very nice because all of these traps have the effect, have their effects in grave, either during the end phase or during the main phase, to just basically banish themselves to set an opposite. So you can either set an Eldlich with the land, or you can set a land with the Eldlich, just by banishing it from the graveyard. Really nice. However, Eldlich also has another cool effect. While it's in the hand, you can send this card to the graveyard as well as any other spell or trap to the graveyard in order to send a card your opponent controls. Target it, send it to the graveyard. Really nice, very solid. However, it can also bring itself back, and this is why Darklords work pretty well. A lot of the Darklord cards want to be in the grave anyway, especially the traps, because they have a pretty high cost when they're used on the field. However, if you use them with the Darklord effects, let me quickly read this. Hold on. Let me read this to you. During either player's turn, you can pay 1,000 life points, target a Darklord spell or trap in the field, apply that target's effect, then shuffle that target into the deck. So, importantly, the reason this is so valuable in Darklords is because you no longer have to pay this cost right here. Up until this is all just the cost of the effect, meaning the effect is this, and that's what you're copying. So having it in the grave for a Darklord card, say this guy is on the field, right? Getting a Sanctified into the grave allows me to use this guy's effect to copy that effect and just use that for free. So in order to do that, what we can do is we can declare this, send this guy to grave, send the Sanctified. This will bring this guy to hand, and then it will special summon itself or another zombie if you're playing this with another zombie. Also, at this point, he's gained 1,000 attack and defense and can't be destroyed by card effects. So, a really valuable tool as well. But at this point, now I could also declare this, targeting this guy. This guy goes shuffling back, and then I can negate whatever monster my opponent has. Pretty simple. But that's kind of the synergies that Eldlich has. Also, Eldlich is just very good because it slows the opponent down. And as you saw, our combo really relies heavily on setting up the graveyard and then drawing into an important combo piece, being either contact or banishment. So it's a little slow, and having a good way to slow down the game in Eldlich very much so helps. Alright, so here is something that's pretty unique to the Darklord archetype. And it's the fact that you can use a lot of your traps, more specifically Darklord Uprising, to go into more monsters or just pop things during the battle phase. So we're going to go into the battle phase here, and I am just going to attack over this Tez. This is going to go to grave. Well, I literally can't do anything about that. That would go to grave. And then I would attack into this one. That one would also go to grave, and then I would attack directly. And then what I could do is, say Ixhel's effect had not been activated. I activate Ixhel's effect. I shuffle this thing back into the deck, and then I am able to fuse into our first Darklord here. And I could use the Morningstar, or I could use just any of these monsters, because at this point it kind of doesn't matter. So we're going to send this guy to the grave. This no. Send it to the grave, and then send it to the grave, and then here I can attack directly. And oftentimes that could lead to a lethal play right there, because, you know, you're able to attack in with a lot of really big monsters really efficiently. Also, along that same lines, say for example, let's bring these guys back. Okay, there we go. So let's say that this guy was not there, and we still had our, where is it? This guy. To grave. There we go. So if we still had this same board, basically, but it's the opponent's turn, what I could do is I could still activate the effect, declare it, you know, special out this guy, and then this time I actually use Morningstar. Oh, I clicked the wrong one again. To grave, to grave, to grave. And then at this point, since I've used Morningstar, this first effect activates, where if it's fusion summoned using Darklord Morningstar as a material, you destroy all cards your opponent controls. So I'd wipe the opponent's field on their turn as well. So those are two really cool things that you can do with Darklord Uprising while it's in the grave. If it's on the field, you do have to have another Darklord either in hand or in grave, but it still does the same thing. But yeah, basically, you just want to get this guy out, and he's more or less your closer, right? If you wipe the opponent's field, most of the time they're not going to have a way to come back from that, unless your guy ends up getting negated, which if that's the case, then you're just kind of doomed. But most of the time, it's not going to get negated, and you're just going to end up wiping the field, or bringing out a 4,000 body monster, which is, you know, quite literally most of the time lethal. Alright, so here we have Ukobak, Amdusk, and another Darklord card. If you end up bricking in this way specifically, it's kind of unique, but there is something that you can do. What you can do is you can normal summon the Ukobak, activate its effect, send one of your Darklord banishments to the grave, and then activate your your Amdusk effect. You will send the other two, or the Amdusk and one of the other cards, in order to add to your hand the banishment. And then from here, you can go banishment, activate, search out yourself a contact. Somewhere over here. There we go. There's the contact. Send this to the grave. Activate the contact. Bring back the Amdusk. And from there, you're off to the races. You can either go into Condemned, depending on what the rest of your hand looks like. I don't suggest doing that. I would much rather you just sit on something like this. What you could do, though, is Ukobak is kind of a sitting duck here. So what I normally like to do is I declare the effect of the Amdusk here. I return this guy, and I search out a something like a enchantment or a sanctified, or probably not rebellion, because rebellion requires more monsters. But this way I can set this on the field, and then during my opponent's turn I can activate it and send this guy to the grave in order to negate something or something along those lines. But yeah, that's probably your best play if you end up bricking in such a way. It happens rarely, and it really loses to something like an Ash Blossom, but it's still something that you can do if need be. So, yeah. Alright, the last thing that I wanted to mention real quick is that you can actually target the same spell with multiple different Darklords, because it's at the end of the effect that it shuffles the target into the deck, meaning if you target your banishment or whatever other spell or trap it may be, and then they chain something to negate an effect, right? Say they chain Mechaba or what have you, right? You can chain again to that same activation another one of your Darklord effects, targeting the same spell or trap, and then still getting its effect. So basically what would happen is I would activate Ixchel, they would chain something like Mechaba, then I would activate my Nastin, and I would still be able to get my search. So this goes back to the top of the deck, and then I am able to search out something like a Tez to protect from destruction, or, if I ended up using Sanctified, I could, negate their effect. So there's that. Hopefully that makes sense, but yeah, you can actually just chain to your own effect and target the same thing. It's really nice, it's very useful, it's just something to keep in mind. Alright, so now I'm just going to play through a couple of test hands to give you a better idea of how to play out specific hands. So this is more specifically catered to Master Duel, so here I'm playing Max C, as you can see. But yeah, this is actually a really solid hand because of the fact that I have Banishment and Contact, which means I can search out whatever I need to. So here I'm going to activate our Banishment. We are going to search for, obviously, our Ixchel here. We're going to add that guy to hand. We are going to send this guy to grave. We are then going to send this one and this one to the grave in order to draw 2 cards. This is terrible. Those are terrible draws, but it doesn't really end up mattering because at this point we can just go into the Amdusk, special summon it in defense position, activate the Amdusk effect, put this guy back to special summon out this guy. Make sure you shuffle that, and then go into our Link monster. Send that to the grave, send that to the grave. Activate the effect, send the Ukobak once again. Add... There it is, view. Add the Morningstar. And then at this point, I'm actually going to... Yeah, I'm going to banish and banish. And I'm going to summon out the Tez here. Because of the fact that I had multiple Tezes, as well as Morningstar just not really being very good, I'm going to go for the Tez here, and then I'm going to activate the effect of the Tez in order to shuffle this back into the deck to search out probably just any trap, really. The best one is Rebellion, so I'm just going to add that to the hand. And then we will... Oh, no. Not what I wanted. Not what I wanted. Not what I wanted. Face down. How do I... What? Set. There we go. Oh my gosh. So yeah. So this is about the best that I could do. But the thing is, because of the fact that I have Maxi, I also have another Tez in hand, as well as I have Rebellion. It's not too terrible. But yeah, that way I have basically 2 pops. I can activate this. I can send like the... I don't really want to send the Condemned, but I also don't want to send Tez. That's kind of the problem. But I guess, yeah, you'd probably send Condemned, you'd pop a card, and then you could pop another card with Tez, and then from there you can kind of just see where you go. I ended up drawing Nastin, which kind of sucks, but hey, you know, there you go. Alright, so this hand is terrible, but you still could be able to play with it. All you'd have to do is summon out your Conquistadors, and then just kind of sit on them. So I'm not even going to do this one. I'm just going to reset once again and try again. Oh my gosh. Come on. Okay. So this one's pretty interesting. We are going to activate the effect of our Nastin. We're going to send this to the grave as well as this. And then we are going to, I normal. Whoops. That's fine. We're going to activate this effect. We are going to bring back this guy. We're going to shuffle this into the deck. And then, just like normal, you go into the Condemned. Yep. Condemned Darklord. We'll put it over here. Send you to the grave. Send you to the grave. And then, from there, we can activate the effect here. Send that guy to the grave. We will search out our... This is where things get interesting, because we don't really have anything. Oh, I guess we could have sent, off of Ukobak, we were supposed to send a banishment. So, yeah, I just forgot to activate that effect. I was thinking about it, and then I was like, oh, didn't do it. Anyway, so here, I'm probably going to end up adding... why am I playing triple Tez? Whoops, that's not supposed to happen. I'm only supposed to play 2. Anyway... We're going to just bring out this guy by banishing these 2. And then we can also banish this one in order to search for and set a Conquistador or a Hawk Arrow or a Golden Man Forever, whichever one you feel like you need. So we can set that. And then we can also activate the effect here in order to search out this. And we will... Thank you. Here, it's kind of crusty. I think the best option is probably just to add another Tez to hand. Or you could add something like a Contact or one of the traps. It kind of depends on how you're feeling. But at this point, we have our Eldlich engine online as well as some defense. So it's pretty nice, but it's not great. Alright, so here, as you can see, we have the Ukobak Amdusk combo. So, Ukobak, activate the effect in order to send... Whoop, not what I wanted, not what I wanted, not what I wanted, not what I wanted. In order to send the banishment. Send to the grave. Where is the... There we go. Oh my gosh. It just says to grave. It doesn't say send, and so I get lost. Add this guy back to hand... Activate this guy. Thank you. We will grab ourselves, since we don't have any other Darklord cards, the best option, obviously, is to grab the Contact. and then activate contact. This is in grave. Special summon out this guy, and then special summon out this guy, and then we will shuffle this guy back to also activating both of these guys' effects to copy the effects. So we'll put this guy to the top of the deck, and no, that guy. And then we will search out something like Rebellion. Where is it? Hello? Rebellion. And then we will set, and set. So this hand really was pretty weak, but we were still able to make at least 2 possible disruptions, as well as having our Hakeros, which at that point we could also go into like a Vampire Sucker by summoning them both, and then, you know, getting them into rotation to get our Scarlet Sanguines online as well, to get the Golden Boy. So yeah, there you go. It's pretty simple. Okay, so I wanted to show you guys this hand because this is something that happens quite a bit, where you'll just see one part of one engine and most of the other cards are just your other engine, which means that it's basically a brick. But honestly, Tez kind of doesn't do anything here, but it doesn't really matter. We could just play with Eldlich. So we go Eldlixer, we summon out the Golden Boy into defense position, and then we just set 3 and pass. Yeah, not a whole lot that you can do there, but just wanted to show it to you. Alright, so this hand is entirely a brick. There is nothing that you can actually do to get a monster onto the field this turn. So your best option is just to set 2 and pass, and then from that, hopefully you're able to use your Sanctified Darklord to send Amdusk, and then Amdusk it back, and then at that point you have a little bit more plays, as well as having that Scarlet Sanguine gets you into your Eldlich engine, so you're not entirely dead from there. Okay, so this is actually a really good hand, just in general. It's really good if we go second, because we can activate the Golden Lord in order to send one of the spells and traps, and then, you know, get rid of one of their monsters. But here we're just going to activate the Ixchel effect. We're going to send one of the two contacts in order to draw 2 cards. So we're going to draw 1 and then draw 2. And at this point, we could just contact back the Ixchel. And granted, it's not the greatest, but, you know, as I said, we still have the Golden Lord if we need it. So yeah, we're just going to send that to the grave, and then we're going to set 1, and we're going to set 2, and we did end up drawing into one of our hand traps, which is very nice. So yeah, potentially this could save us, but again, potentially it couldn't. Okay, so this will be the last one that I'll show, but I will basically also show you why Indulged Darklord is really good, but also why you never really want to normal summon it. So here, we're able to go Indulged Darklord. We are able to give our opponent a Uko back, so I'm going to special summon this, and then I'm going to well, here, I will add the Ixchel that we're going to go for to the hand, and then I'll move this guy to the opponent's side of the field, and then we'll send this guy and another one of the contacts to the grave in order to draw 2 cards. Okay, so we ended up drawing into the Eldlich half of our deck, which is really nice, but at this point, we just activate the contact, we bring back the Ixchel, and then at this point, we just set and pass. Because, again, we don't have our normal summon, which means that if we were to go into Condemned, it doesn't really accomplish anything. We're not able to get into the Morning Star, which means that at that point, there's no real point to actually go into Condemned. Sure, we could search out the Morning Star. It would cost a card in our hand. And, like, it wouldn't be too bad, but it would also get Darklords off of the field, and it's really nice to have them on the field. We also have Tez, so having Ixchel on the field is really nice, as well as we can send the Indulged in order to negate an effect, and then have Ixchel as well to negate another effect. So it's just much better to go like this. Yeah. Also, with this setup, we could go with Hakero and Conquistador, and then on our turn, we could summon out the Vampire Sucker, and then get them into the grave to get the Scarlet Sanguines into rotation, and the Golden Boy as well. So, yeah. Indulged Darklord, not the greatest normal summon. In fact, most of the time you just don't want to normal summon, because you really want the effect of Condemned to, you know, normal summon the Morning Star. Alright, so now that I've talked about the Darklord Eldlich, I did want to just to talk about real quick the actual pure Darklord variant, which more heavily relies on Valhalla and Archlord Christia, as well as Superbia. All of these I don't play in the Eldlich version because they're kind of just bricks. They're not really that great. But in a pure variant, they are significantly better. So first of all, let's talk about Valhalla, Hall of the Fallen. Basically, it allows you to just special summon one of your fairy-type monsters, which is most of your monsters. In fact, almost every single one of your... Actually, all of the Darklord monsters are fairies. So you can just special summon out your Archlord Christia, and that is a floodgate. No one can special summon, period. Just straight up, no special summons. It's even better than Winda. It's a bigger body. The only problem is that it can be destroyed by card effects, so do keep that in mind. However, it's incredibly great. It's a good card, and it's a big beat stick. However, that's not the only way to summon this card. If, for example, this card is in the grave as well as your Superbia, if you activate Contact as Chainlink 1, which only Contact can be, you are able to special summon out your Superbia, and then Superbia's effect will activate in order to special summon out your Christia. Whoops, did not mean to do that. So, Superbia's effect says when this card is special summoned from the graveyard, you can target a fairy type monster in the graveyard and special summon that target. So that means you can even summon out Christia because it is a fairy, which means now you've got a really solid board and a really solid lockdown on the field. You could also put this into defense position if you think that they have something like Lightning Storm, but all in all, it doesn't really matter too much. Just kind of start getting into... start beating into your opponent as much as you can, right? However, I do want to say that this card does miss timing. Meaning, if we are utilizing the effect of... Let's send this to the grave and send this. If we're utilizing the effect of a Darklord card in order to copy the effect of a spell or trap, because of the way that this is worded, Superbia misses timing. Meaning you cannot use it. So, if you are playing Superbia, only bring it back with a contact from the hand. Do not copy the effect. And here's why. Real quick. Because of the fact that it says when, if I were to copy the effect, right? Apply that target's effect, then shuffle that target into the deck. Meaning, my effect is still going when this guy comes back. So, when he is summoned, something else is already happening. And that has to resolve before this effect can even activate. So, it misses the timing, and it's not able to actually summon anything back if I'm using the Darklord effect, right? So, do keep that in mind. This is only basically summonable through Valhalla as well as a regular contact. However, notably, there is one exception to this rule. The big boy himself, the first Darklord. This card does not copy an effect, it straight up pays 1,000 to special summon a fairy type monster from your hand or graveyard. So, what you can do is you can actually summon out your Superbia and then your Christia, or, if you wanted to, you could even summon back your Ixchel or something like that. But at that point, that's pretty solid. You can't be targeted, all of that stuff. Really nice, really solid. Do keep that in mind. Those are just some of the tips and tricks of this deck. But most of the stuff is pretty simple. There isn't really anything too in-depth. It's mostly just figuring out how to play with your own individual hands and how to make the most out of them. And that's it for this tutorial. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it and that you learned something from this. If this is basically as in-depth as Darklords get, it's mostly just figuring it out, as I've mentioned previously. But that's going to be it. I hope that you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And if you want to check out more content like this, as well as more Yu-Gi-Oh!, then just be sure to subscribe. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.